Heya, and welcome to a neonKnights guide that will hopefully give you a general overview. Ready? Let's go. Also, I'm never going to say heya again, that was a bad idea. So right after you finish the tutorial, you'll find yourself in a hospital that houses an outdoor room of sorts. Leave as soon as possible because Kokoro the bug-eyed is here. No hate, it's just kind of her title now. After you leave the outdoor room, you'll find yourself in the hospital, which again, you can find Season and Kokoro here. Kokoro will be here where you last saw her, in the outdoor room, and Season, the medical personnel, can be found stationed at a counter not too far. After leaving the hospital, you'll find Gazibo's Deals, or Gazibo, however you want to say it. A trading stand that sells weapons of varying qualities at a discount, compared to Stein's shop, which is all based on chance. But we'll get into that in a little bit, so don't worry. If we make the center of what I'll call the crossroads relative to a compass, you'll find the clothing vendor to your east, the forge to your northeast, the chest vendor to your north, the aesthetically pleasing way to get into a dive lobby to the northwest, the inn to your west, the firing range to your south, and the hospital where you just came from to your southeast. We'll start with the clothing vendor. You can call her Era. I might call her Era, but for now we can be fancy and we'll call her Ira, or Era, who sells style bundles of clothing to players which can be mixed and matched in the changing room found at the top of the room. It's a lot of rooms. Note that as of now, clothing provides no stat buffs besides a plus to morale, confidence, and veterancy, which, let's be honest, aren't even real stats in this game, because the player can look flashy, classy, and dashy in front of others. Next is the forge. You'll meet a person named Holiday who owns the forge and by the grace of her goodwill lets you use it to change the look of your weapons, upgrade their base stats, add new perks, which I'll get to in a bit, and dismantle. Changing the look of your weapon can vary from its literal color to the material and the visual effect of its projectile. You can use forge vouchers or flux. I used flux. Don't worry, your weapon's not gone. It scared me too. That's just the animation. And now your projectile will be different. In my case, it's blue. Or violet. Forge stats lets you upgrade the level of your weapons so it's more up to par with your new weapons you find at higher levels. For example, a full auto gun you like at level 13 may not be up to par with a full auto at level 23. However, you may like the quirk, look, or sound effect of the level 13 gun, and therefore can upgrade it via this method to keep it semi up to par. In my experience, the upgrades the forge stats route lets you take can be a bit underwhelming. Do keep in mind that you can only edit a gun 10 times before, I assume, it is uneditable. Uneditable, that is a weird word to say. Forge quirks lets you add quirks using quirk shards. A lot of the word quirky, I know, it's a really quirky word to use, which you can find via shard vending machines, which again, I'll explain it very soon. Dismantling gives you the chance to acquire one of the quirk shards your weapon has upon dismantling. This percentage can be changed using forge vouchers or flux. If you really want to try, which you can, I'll let you try, but you can't. Weapons without quirks cannot be dismantled. It'd be really interesting and kind of confusing if you could, because what would happen? There is also a missing persons board near the forge, so if you want some lore and or want to connect some puzzles, this is one of the puzzles, pieces, thingamajigs. Yeah, words are hard. Also, you can see inside the clothing vendor's store, which is pretty cool in my opinion, albeit most likely not a purposeful addition to the game, but I still think it looks pretty cool. Now if you go north of the crossroads, you'll find the chest vendor, aka Stein. You can talk to Stein to gain access to purchasing chests, which contain weapons and gears of varying varieties. It's a lot of very words. You know, if the amount of chests he has, you could almost say it's very overwhelming. Alright, yeah, I see the door. I'll leave. Now let's talk about these chests. Players can get a daily free chest, letting them roll for weapons. The colors given to chests when you view them through Stein are not rarities. I believe they're colored this way for aesthetic. There is a pity system when rolling, spending 1500 carbonite, which is one of the two currencies in the game so far, the other being flux, used at the forge, will guarantee the player rolling an experimental or better on their roll, which I assume is applied to any chest, not just one type. There are different types of rare chests, which are only displayed for a few days at a time, or during events, such as the diamond chest. Before we reach the combat section, I want to point out that there are what I'll call two categories of weapon usage: ranged, so your shotguns, pistols, and rifles, which use different slots compared to your gears and melee weapons. So again, two categories of weapon usage. If you're enjoying the video so far, it would mean a lot to me if you could like and subscribe and hit that bell icon because it tells you when my videos come out. And if you haven't, get some snacks and some water because we're going to be here for a little longer. If you go northwest of the crossroads, you'll find a play section, which along the way, you'll also find a mecha station where you can redeem codes and sell items earned on dives. And you can also buy carbonite here, but we'll kind of skip that for now. There's also an NPC called Granny V you can talk to along the way as well. After entering the play section, you'll notice 5 options: Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. However, if you click on the special dives, you'll find 3 types of dives, which can either help you earn XP to level up faster, or earn flex to use a Holiday's Forge. Each dive has a max of 2 attempts per day. Once you're in a lobby, you can change the permissions to join, change how you want loot to be split, change the difficulty of the dive, going as far as 3 levels lower than yours or 3 levels higher. Increasing difficulty and or the level of the dive increases enemy damage to the player, the number of enemies, the amount of credits you get, which I haven't explained but I will, the amount of XP you get, and the amount of carbonite earned after completing or failing the dive. You can also change your starting destination, which for new players can be unlocked by reaching said destination at least 10 times. So for me, I personally haven't unlocked Yarumo Transit yet because I haven't gotten there 10 times. I've gotten there at least 5 times though. Next up is everyone's favorite hotel owner and or inn owner, Take, not Take, or Takei, or Takis, which kind of sound good right now. Anyways, the inn is where you'll end up after successful missions and is where your personal stash is. For example, if you don't want to bring a really awesome gear or weapon and don't have the inventory space for it to keep it on you, you can put it in your stash. Don't be too greedy though, as your stash and inventory space are not unlimited. You'll also find trophies hanging on a ledge that tell you how many times you've completed a certain region. Unfortunately, you weren't able to take off your shoes, so don't you dare step on that bed. Also, we can't wash your hands. Ew. If you go south of the Crossroads, you'll find the firing range, owned by Rayleigh, or at least managed by Rayleigh. You can talk to Rayleigh and they'll give you ammunition so you can see how well your weapons perform. As you'll see, some bullets are hitting for weak, which again, I'll explain soon. And yes, I know, a lot of things I'll explain soon. Don't worry, they're coming. Soon. A part of the game that I like a lot, that adds some immersion to it, is that you can converse with the characters, or talk to them. In other words, you're not talking to them only to chitter chat, but you can actually raise your relationship with them. Pressing Q and then utility and then logbook will show you a list of everyone's names, their title, their description, and how well your guys' relationship is going so far. You can also expand the description text if you like it less cluttered. And I assume the progression of your relationship is shown by these stars and this little description of your relationship. So keep it up, champ. Next we have the menu, which you can access by pressing Q. Here you can check your inventory, skills, and utilities. Utilities give you access to a logbook, current dive, encounters, and a gear icon. The encounters is currently coming soon. The logbook shows you what I mentioned right before this section. Current dive lists the stats of your best dive so far, and the gear icon lets you toggle certain effects and general game settings. Inventory shows what shards, vouchers, gears, and weapons you have. Skills shows you the skill tree and what you can spend your skill points on, which are earned on every level up. If you look at the bottom right next to play, you'll see a mail icon and shop. Pressing the shop icon lets you quick travel to any shop and or location in the lobby besides the inn and hospital. The mail icon updates you on current events and more importantly, daily rewards, so yeah, make sure you keep up. And, oh yeah, that's right. Pressing the big play button at the bottom right brings you straight to the dive lobby screen. Yeah, screw cardio. I forgot to mention it earlier, but there is also a collectibles type of inventory, which is where you can put your emotes, which you can then use by either holding G and selecting from a wheel of character emotes, or pressing T to select a number of sticker emotes, which will pop up above your character's head. Now let's talk about the rooms which you'll find in the dives. Upon beginning a region, you'll notice challenges appear. Successfully completing these challenges grants rewards after reaching the end of a region. Rooms can have loot which is only accessible after clearing it, which is signified by a white circle expanding from the last enemy killed or specific place in the room. However, loot found in hallways is always lootable off the bat. Some rooms, such as transport rooms, the elevator for this case, or shop rooms, allow the player to heal for a small amount if they have the Restful Spirit ability unlocked as one of their skills. Now you'll also notice vending machines which are scattered throughout all the regions and all the rooms in your dives, which contain heals, ammo, weapons, shards, and drinks and snacks, which are found in hallways and again, rooms. Healing vending machines cost 40 credits and drop percentage heals. Ammo machines cost $20 and only affect the gun that you're currently holding. Weapon vending machines cost anywhere from 70 to 100 credits. Shard vending machines I think are 60. I haven't been able to find one in a while. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is. Snack and drink vending machines both cost 40, and you'll kind of have to guess with these snacks and drinks based on the description what kind of effects they give you, as I haven't been able to amass a list to tell you what all of their effects mean. Also, you only get to choose one item from the vending machine, unlike shops which let you purchase as much as you want as long as you have the money. Now the shard vending machines sell the same shards used at the forge, however the shards are chosen at random and provided in small bundles. Like the weapons you pick up throughout the rooms, the weapons you buy from the vending machines are also desynced, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. Every vending machine costs money, so make sure to balance your credits between health, snacks, weapons, and shards, just like real life. There are barriers in every region that can be destroyed to either damage enemies, such as the orange and red barrels in the first region, or destroyed to provide safe passage, as some of these barriers can deal damage to the player, like the second region. All barriers seem to have a chance to drop cash though, so destroy at your own risk. Personally, I try to destroy all of them if I have time, because, I mean, who doesn't like a little chaos and destruction? Sometimes you'll find pillars which allow the player to up the difficulty for the next room, bringing more reward such as credits or weapons for higher risk. But the real question is, do you value your life? If you always end up in the hospital after dying, should you take the risk? Because we seem unstoppable in this game. What if we're God? I don't know where to put this, so I'll put it here. If interactable objects are near each other, you can choose which one you want to interact with by hovering over with your mouse. Power of technology. While you're doing the dive, you can measure your progress in that region by looking at the bottom left. You'll see what room you're in, as in the number, and after typically I think it's 15 to 20, you will find the boss, which yes, it's typical, it's kind of a no-brainer, but I feel obligated to at least mention it. And if you know that you're coming up on it, then get ready. Get your life insurance ready, get your death insurance ready, get your grave insurance ready, get your teammate meat shields ready, get your HP up, get your weapons up. Prepare. Get ready. Now, after defeating a boss, you are led into another room where you are rewarded with a weapon. If there are multiple players, multiple chests, but be careful of the looting type for the dive, because if you're with greedy players, they might just yoink your items. After the loot room, you can then choose to end the dive or continue it. You'll occasionally see green and red arrows. Green arrows show you the entrance to the next objective. Unfortunately, they do not take down crime bosses for you using a quiver and bow, wrong type of green arrow, and red arrows show you where the last enemy in your current room is. So if you're blind, like me, then it'll do the work for you. And if you're curious, like I was, some pillars do reduce your health. Activating those ones will not unalive you, not send you 6 feet under, not send you the water grate, whatever it's called for pirates. Am I out of things to use? Yeah? Okay. If you're low. For now, at least. Now we have the exciting stuff, combat, it's where you like punch something, kill something, shoot something, unalive something, drop from your holster, say draw, and then miss your shot, and then get shot, and then get sent to the Wild West grade. I'm getting off topic. Anyways, enemy red zones are a visual representation of the enemy strike. Typically there is a delay before the red zone becomes actual damage, so make sure to get out of it before that. However, red zones that say danger are typically showing you that something will spawn out of it and won't actually damage you. Either way, be careful. I might be wrong. Plus, I'm not trying to use my grave insurance, and I'm also still trying to use my teammates as shields. Did I say that out loud? Oops. As you learned in the tutorial, you can slide charge or dodge. Slide charging can be done by holding or pressing shift or whatever your run button is and pressing space, while dodging is done by pressing space by itself. Slide charging costs 2 stamina, dodging costs 1. And if your stamina is just regenerating, you got just like a little sliver that's a little grayed out, you can still do the slide charge. Most enemies have a weak spot, which is typically a yellow box, or just a weak spot in general. For the first region, it's always a yellow box, but after that, it kind of changes up a little bit. And hitting this will trigger a critical hit and deal more damage, in most cases at least. Purchased and looted ammo boxes only affect the weapon you're currently holding. Like I said earlier, I just really want to emphasize that fact because it's really important. If you think it's going to affect all your ammo, it just won't. When I first found that out, I was kind of sad. Okay, not kind of sad. I'm lying. I was really sad. I kind of lost that run. Dive. They're called dives. Weapons cannot be unequipped and then re-equipped to replenish their ammo. Trust me, I've tried so many times. It never works. Weapons found in dives can be lost upon losing a dive. However, weapons found in earlier regions, lost in later regions, in a single dive, are not lost and are synced, meaning that the player will bring the weapon home. Earlier I said that some weapons you get during a dive are desynced, so when they're desynced, that means you'll lose them. When they are synced, that means you won't. You do not auto-reload. Either left click after your clip runs out, or press R to manually reload, or magazine runs out, whatever you want to call it. Clip, magazine. Dodging does not, unless I'm horrible at timing, which I do not doubt, give you iframes, which is a short period of time when the player is immune to enemy damage. Although I've got a basic example, dodging even during the enemy's strike still resulted in me taking damage. The same thing occurred when I slide charged. Then again, it may all just be timing, lag, or Roblox. Probably Roblox if we're all being honest. If enemies have a shield icon around them, that means they are immune to damage until the icon disappears. So don't waste your time trying to fill it with lead. It probably won't work. Some enemy projectiles can be blocked by walls and rooms, or, teammates. The best way. When you reach vertical heights, there's an enemy that will send ads on your screen. You have to click the top right X's of the windows to delete them, or you can shoot blind. or you can kill the robots sending the ads, or, you know, get a VPN. And no, we're not sponsored. Going into your menu during combat does not stop the game. Only access the menu in safe spots, or, you know, accept your fate and die if you do open it during combat. Or press Q really quickly and just spam it until you start panicking, and then the robots come and kill you, and then you get to... Now we've, you know, saved the best for last. The weapons, the bang bangs, the pew pews, the slash slash, the boom boom. Anyways, I'm not going to cover the base stats such as accuracy and fire rate because, well, I believe in you guys. I am going to cover the hidden stats though. The number associated with your gun determines the rarity. Low hundreds are lower rarities, and high hundreds are high rarity guns, also meaning that you'll have more quirks and supposedly better stats as well, with again, those higher rarity guns. If I remember correctly, experimental was around 900, rare or pristine was around 800, and all those higher numbers, and you usually want to try to get weapons in that range, although you can't control it, so if you get one that high, you might want to keep it, or sell it. It's all up to you. Guns and gear are equipped in different slots in the inventory menu. Gear is selected via Z, X, and C, while weapons are selected via 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's right, all that rhymes. Having multiple melee gears is a thing, and can let you switch between heavy hitting melees to fast and nimble melees on the fly during a fight. You can also aesthetically see how much ammo you have, the real time left on your gun, and the cooldown on gears by looking at the bottom right. You can turn on additional gun information in the menu we mentioned earlier and see more info on your guns, which is awesome, but it's also kind of niche, however you want to say it. Now you can see the range of your gun, the bullet sustain, recoil, critical damage, and weapon multiplier. Most of these make sense besides the bullet sustain and recoil, and I found out that bullet sustain is basically damage fall off. At longer ranges, your weapon will be less effective. Up close, it'll deal damage closer to what it says on the weapon stats. On the other hand, recoil plays a part in overall accuracy. Think about CSGO, Valorant, those games. Although your weapon has that base accuracy stat, the overall accuracy can be affected by your recoil, like in any other game. If I shoot low with an automatic rifle at 5 per 10 yards, and its base accuracy is about 50%, I'll hit more shots than if I were to aim at a target's head with all the same factors. To my surprise though, a higher recoil number seems to actually be less physical recoil for the gun. Like the sniper rifle has a high recoil, but it's actually dead center most times. Unlike the pistol and assault rifles and maybe shotguns. Huh. So the higher the recoil on your weapon, the more accurate it is. Or the less likely, the less it affects your accuracy. If that makes sense. So higher recoil and a okay accuracy kind of balance each other out. I'm guessing a high accuracy weapon with a very low recoil would not be as accurate. If that makes sense. So let's try a gun. 29% accuracy. 35% recoil. 57. See at this range is pretty pitiful even if we're aiming for the feet. And if we're aiming for the head. Okay. You probably know the basic firing modes such as burst, semi-auto, and full auto, but there's actually a fourth which is charged, which are unique to ray gun-esque weapons. which I don't have right now because I sold it. But these ray guns typically do have really high accuracy. Sorry. No, but for real, the ray guns typically have ridiculously high accuracy, but they do require a charge. It's kind of weird, but once you get it and you play with it, like in the actual game, you'll get what I mean. Shotguns can either reload by individual shell or a whole magazine, sort of like an AA-12 versus the pump shotgun. You wouldn't load, I mean, you can load. Can you load individual shells into an AA-12? I don't know, but usually as you do it in clips. And my last weapon tip is to pay attention to the gears and or melee weapons, as they have different stats as well compared to the guns. These little boxes that you see tell you more information on what the weapon and or gear is capable of. For example, this wall buddy increases my speed by 0.37 times. So again, a lot of this game is reading stats and actually playing the game. My fellow neonKnights, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for your time and patience. Hopefully this guide can help you dive into the walls and will keep you alive just a little bit longer. I can't believe this video was almost 20 minutes. That is wild. And as your guide knight, I wish you luck into your dives. Have a great rest of your day, night, morning, and or evening. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Subscribe. You don't have to, but you should.
Bye.
Yeah.
Ah!